Hey everybody, 4.5, the converse of the Pythagorean theorem coming your way. Let's get going. We're going to be talking about using the converse of the Pythagorean theorem and using the side lengths to classify triangles. Remember how to classify triangles? Remember what the classification of triangles are? I hope so. Alright, so it says the converse of the Pythagorean theorem gives you a way to tell if a triangle is a right triangle when you know the side lengths. So all we need to do is know what those side lengths are and we can classify it as a right triangle. It says if the sum of the squares of the lengths of the two sides of a triangle is equal to the square of the length of this third side, then the triangle is a right triangle. So in other words, if you know that a squared plus b squared is c squared, then it is automatically a right triangle. So there's no new formula that you have to know. It's just if you know that a squared plus b squared is c squared, then it is a right triangle. Yesterday we talked about if a squared plus, or sorry, if it is a right triangle, then we know a squared plus b squared is equals to c squared. Now, if a squared plus b squared is c squared, we know it's a right triangle. So kind of the exact opposite, just flip-flopping a little bit. Okay, also, if in ABC, C is the length of the long side, so that's your hypotenuse, normally it's the longest side. Okay, if C squared is greater than A squared plus B squared, then it is it is an obtuse triangle. If it is less than A squared plus B squared, then it is an acute triangle. All right, if you have any questions, remember to ask me tomorrow. But greater than is obtuse, less than is acute. You need to know that. Make sure that is written down in your notes. All right, moving on. All right, so today, just classify the triangle as acute, obtuse, or right. So using your a squared plus b squared and your c squared, figure out if it's right, obtuse, or acute. Give this one a shot. All right, so looking at this, I'm going to just plug it in as, again, a squared plus b squared. And we want to figure out, is it greater than, less than, or equal to? All right, so I'm going to try this first one, 5 squared plus 7 squared. And I don't know what is going on with that equal sign, so put a little question mark on top, and 10 squared. So 5 squared is 25, 7 squared is 49, still don't know, and 10 squared is 100. Then adding 25 and 49, we know that 25 plus 49 is 74, and we still have 100. So now we have to figure out, is it greater than or less than? Well, 74 is always less than 100. Okay, so now we have a less than. So what are we talking about? Well, we know that a squared plus b squared is less than c squared. So looking at your notes, it was opposite before, but now a squared plus b squared is less than c squared, which means this is an obtuse triangle because c squared is larger than a squared plus b squared. All right, so I want us to try the second one again. Give her a shot. All right, 7, 12, 16. Plugging this into our equation. Now we have 7 squared plus 12 squared. And we're not sure with 16 squared. Okay, 49 plus 144. Again, we're still not sure what's happening with 16 squared, which is 256. 49 plus 144 is 193. And we have 256 on the right side. So which one's bigger? Okay, so now that tells me that a squared plus b squared is less than our c squared. It's less than. So when a squared plus b squared is less than our c squared, again, just like that first problem is, this is obtuse. So when c squared is larger than a squared plus b squared, it is obtuse. when a squared plus b squared is larger than c squared, it is acute, and when they're equal, they're right. All right, we're going to try one more problem. This is the last one in your notes. Last one. It says classify the triangle, again, as acute, obtuse, or right. You don't have to write the directions over because you already have them from the last two problems. Give this one a shot and we'll check your answer. All right, we have 3.8 and we are figuring out, we have a squared plus b squared, and we are trying to figure out, is it greater than, equal to, or less than c squared. All right, so let's plug things in. 3.8 plus 4.1. We're not quite sure about that. Remember, they're all squared. Notice, I forgot to mention this earlier, your largest side length, that's always c squared. Your two shortest ones are going to be your a and a b, doesn't matter which is which, but your c is always the longest side. And that's how you figure it out. You need to make sure the longest side is always your c. All right, so now 3.8 squared, that is 14.44, plus 4.1 squared is 16.81. And we are not sure if it is larger than our 5.2 squared, which is 27.04. Add those up, we get 31.25 and 27.04. Now, which one is larger, 31.25 or 27.04? 31.25 is larger. So what does that tell me? Well, we know that a squared plus b squared is larger than c squared. Whenever a squared plus b squared is larger than c squared, this is an acute triangle. Acute. It's so cute because it's so little. It's so cute. Okay, so we have an acute triangle. So classifying these triangles based on their side lengths. Equal, less than, greater than. Hope you're ready for the homework. And have a good day.